Is Novak Djokovic really the GOAT? Well, it depends who you ask. Also, do you base the title on the number of Grand Slams won or number of weeks held at world number 1 position? In this video, we're going to really see if Novak is the GOAT. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Boris Becker believes Novak's record-breaking run as world number 1 puts him ahead of Roger Federer and Rafa as the greatest player of all time. I'm sure he's biased though, having previously coached him. The Serb broke Federer's record of 286 weeks as world number 1 earlier this year and has continued to top the rankings up until recently, when Daniil Medvedev took over the top spot. He also finished the season last year as number 1 for a 7th time to break Pete Sampras's record. Assessing the achievements of Novak, Roger and Rafa, 6-time Grand Slam champion, Becker told Eurosport, the fact that 3 players have won 20 Grand Slams each, 22 in Rafa's case, is unbelievable and will never be equaled again. They have played against each other for the last 15 years. They didn't win more Grand Slams because the other one won them. Numbers just don't lie. As a tennis player, the number of weeks at number 1 is very important. Novak is simply way ahead there. If all 3 of them stopped playing tennis today, I would see Novak at number 1, said Becker. While the trio are locked in a 3-way battle for the most Grand Slam titles, the Serb looks the most likely to finish with the record at the time of his retirement. Federer may be out of action as he recovers from surgery, while Rafa is coming back from injury. I think the 2 greats of tennis now have to think seriously about how long they can be called players, said Novak's former coach Becker. With Rafa it will be a bit easier than with Roger. There's no bigger Roger fan than me, but I don't know how easy it is to make another comeback after knee surgery at almost 41. World number 2, Alexander Zverev, who was recently named German Sportsman of the Year, said he would not rule out a return for Federer. Roger has already managed a lot of things where we said that is not possible at all. That's why I wouldn't rule it out. It won't be easy. Tennis is changing and getting faster. At some point it will no longer be easy. So getting back to the GOAT debate, let's first have a look at Roger. There are essentially 2 sides of the debate here. One is that what matters the most is not what you have won, but how you have won it, while the other believes statistics are essentially everything. If we are talking about the former though, then Roger Federer has a supremely strong case to be considered the GOAT. Even the staunchest Federer fan would struggle to make a statistical argument for the Swiss maestro being the best ever. His major winning days look a long way behind him now, and the record he set in that department has already been broken. He can no longer lay claim to being the longest reigning world number 1. Novak took that record from him nearly a year ago. However, what does set Federer apart is the completely unique style and grace that made him so popular. No one has ever played the game like Federer, and it's highly unlikely anyone ever will again. At times he looked like he was performing some kind of ballet, whilst wielding a tennis racket, with pinpoint precision. Watching him even close to his peak was an absolute privilege that few forget. Federer also deserves credit for the way he revolutionized tennis and transitioned it away from the big servers that badly damaged its spectacle in the 1990s. New regulations helped, but Federer carried the game commercially for a good while back then. And of course, whilst his statistics are no longer record-holding in most regards, they are pretty spectacular to say the least. Put it all together, and Federer has as strong a GOAT case as anyone. But Novak represents the counter-argument. Whilst the Serbian is largely dominant statistically now, he has never done it in such a manner that has seen him earn the universal popularity which Federer enjoyed. That shouldn't be taken as suggesting he is not popular, it must be stressed. Novak has millions of devoted fans who admire him both on and off the court. However, while Federer's appeal is ubiquitous, Novak's is felt by a much narrower section of sports fans. I think it is also important to point out that he has not been served by the press and media in quite the same positive way Federer and Rafa have. Often, in fact, he is criticized seemingly for doing no more than beating them. Ultimately though, Novak is a divisive figure. He plays with a demeanor many interpret as a modest, and a passion some see as aggressively arrogant. He is a very unique character, with a unique background, so it is perhaps unfair to judge him. He is a product of a war-torn country, and while Rafa and Roger grew up in privilege, he had to fight his way up through poverty. That context is vital. What is not open to interpretation with Novak is his statistical dominance. Like Federer, Novak has fallen behind in the race to win the most majors, but he is far from out of it. He has also spent, by far, the most weeks at world number 1, and been here in world number 1 more times than anyone else, and was the first man to win every major multiple times, and his head-to-head against both Federer and Rafa is incredibly impressive. And it is a big if you are judging the GOAT on nothing but statistics alone, then Novak just has to be your pick. Based on stats, Novak has the strongest argument. If Federer is the how you have done it, and Novak is the what you have done, then Rafa is the middle ground between them. He has more mainstream popularity than Novak, but less than Federer, and better statistics than Federer, but not as good as Novak. After winning the Australian Open and French Open, he has forged ahead of his rivals in the race to win the most majors, and that alone adds considerable weight to his case. But is it enough? Like Djokovic, he has won every major, multiple times now too. More than half of those have come on the clays of Roland Garros though. That either makes it even more impressive, as his specialist surface has only one slam every year, or not half as impressive, as he is too much of a one-court specialist, depending on your point of view. I'm sure that is going to make the comments section blow up. What probably sets Rafa apart from Novak and Federer is that his career has been the most storied one. He is a naturally right-handed player who is winning everything playing left-handed. For the record, he is not ambidextrous either. He is very much right-handed. In fact, he can't even brush his teeth with his left hand. So that surely makes winning 22 majors with it all the more impressive. Rafa has also had to fight his way through a lengthy injury record, which is something his rivals have not had to face. As far as the debate goes, Rafa has both universal appeal and plenty of impressive statistics, and he has achieved it under arguably more trying circumstances than his rivals. The only real conclusion anyone can draw from this is just how lucky we have all been to have witnessed 3 such players in the same era. It has never happened before, and it's highly unlikely to ever happen again. In terms of who is the greatest of all time, well, that is and always will be a subjective call. There is no definitive criteria, so there can never be a definitive winner. Your opinion will be colored by who your favorite is, and what you personally value the most. If it's style and elegance, then Federer will be your man. If it's statistics and underdog spirit, it's Novak. If it's ferocity and sheer will to compete, then Rafa is probably going to be your pick. What we can say without question though, is that we are looking at the best 3 male players to ever pick up a racket, whichever order you want to put them in. Thanks for watching.